What if I told you there is a prayer so powerful, so precise, that speaking it for just 21 seconds before you sleep tonight could completely reorganize your reality by tomorrow? Not in a week, not in a month, in 24 hours. I know how that sounds. I know you've heard promises like this before. But stay with me, because what I'm about to share with you is not another affirmation technique. It is not another visualization exercise. This is something buried deep within the teachings of one of the greatest minds who ever studied the human subconscious, Joseph Murphy. And most people who have read his books, who have watched the videos, who have followed his work for years, have never encountered this particular principle. Because Murphy didn't place it on the surface. He placed it where only the truly ready would find it. Before we go any further, hit that like button right now and tell me in the comments where in the world you are watching from today. I read every single comment, and it means everything to me to see this community growing from every corner of the globe. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do that now and turn on the notification bell so you never miss what we share here. Now let me ask you something honestly. Have you ever prayed and felt like your words just evaporated the moment they left your mouth? Like you were speaking into a room with no one in it? Have you ever gone to sleep hoping, truly hoping, that tomorrow would be different, that something would shift, that the thing you've been carrying for so long would finally begin to move? And then you wake up and everything looks exactly the same circumstances, the same weight on your chest, the same quiet disappointment that follows you into your morning. If that is your experience, I need you to understand something. The problem was never your faith. The problem was never your worthiness. The problem was the direction of your prayer. You were praying outward when the entire creative power lives inward. Murphy spent decades studying this. He studied scripture. He studied the science of mind. He studied the documented experiences of thousands of people who transformed their lives not through more effort, not through more begging, but through a precise internal shift. And what he found was this: the subconscious mind does not respond to desperation. It does not respond to repetition alone. It responds to one thing and one thing only: the feeling of a thing already being real. This is the entire foundation of what you are about to receive today. So I need you to stay until the end, because the prayer itself, and the exact way you must speak it, comes after you understand why it works. Without that understanding, the words are just words. With it, they become something that reshapes your entire energetic field overnight. Write in the comments right now, "I am ready." Let me know you are here with me. Most people treat prayer like a transaction. They bring their list of needs, they present their case, they ask politely or sometimes desperately, and then they wait. They place their desire somewhere in the future, and they look toward it from where they are standing right now, which is a place of not having it. And this is the fatal mistake, because the moment you look toward your desire from a place of lack, you are broadcasting the signal of lack. And the subconscious mind, which Murphy called the creative medium of all experience, it faithfully produces more of whatever signal you are broadcasting. But when you understand what this prayer does differently, everything changes. This prayer does not ask, it does not petition, it does not even hope, it declares. And the declaration is made not from where you are, but from where you are going. More accurately, from where you have already arrived. This is what Murphy called praying from the end. You do not pray toward your desire, you pray from within it. You speak as someone who is already standing inside the fulfilled reality, looking back at the asking with the quiet smile of someone who no longer needs to ask, because it is already done. When you do this, when you genuinely shift your internal state into the feeling of completion, your subconscious mind accepts that as its new instruction. It cannot tell the difference between a vividly felt internal experience and an external physical reality. This is not poetic language. This is the actual mechanism Murphy documented across decades of work. The subconscious is literal, it is loyal. and it is relentless in its effort to match your outer world to whatever inner world you are consistently feeding it. Feed it lack, and it builds more lack. Feed it completion, and it begins immediately, not eventually, but immediately to reorganize your circumstances to reflect that completion. This is why 24 hours is not an exaggeration. It is not a marketing claim. It is what happens when a genuine internal shift occurs. The external world does not take months to respond to a real change in consciousness. It begins responding within hours, sometimes within minutes. You will see it in the synchronicities that start appearing, the unexpected message, the door that opens without you pushing it, the thought that arrives with a clarity you have not felt in months. These are not coincidences. These are your subconscious mind beginning to execute its new instructions. If this is landing for you, type in the comments, "My subconscious is listening." Now I want to take you deeper into something Murphy taught that almost no one talks about because it sounds too simple to be the secret. And yet it is the secret. He said that your feeling is your prayer, not your words, not your intentions, your feeling. The emotional state you are living in right now is the prayer that is constantly being answered. Which means most people are praying for more struggle without realizing it, because they are living inside the feeling of struggle. They are praying for more lack because they are saturated in the feeling of lack. Their subconscious is simply being obedient. It is answering the prayer it is actually receiving, not the one the conscious mind thinks it is sending. This is why you can say the right words 1,000 times and see nothing change. The words are arriving at the surface of your mind. But the feeling, the deep persistent feeling of things not working, of being stuck, of not being enough, that is arriving at the subconscious level. And the subconscious always wins. It always overrides the surface. This is why Murphy was so insistent. You must change the feeling first. Everything else follows from that. The prayer we are going to speak together tonight is designed specifically to shift the feeling, not to convince your subconscious with logic, not to repeat a phrase until you are blue in the face, but to bring you into genuine emotional contact with the reality of your desire already being fulfilled. 21 seconds. That is all the time you need to make that shift if you do it correctly. And here is why 21 seconds is enough. The conscious mind has a very short window before it begins interfering, before the doubt creeps in, before the voice that says this probably won't work, nothing ever changes for me, I have tried this before, starts speaking. 21 seconds is precisely long enough to fully embody the feeling, to let it move through your body and register in your nervous system, but short enough that the conscious skeptic does not have time to dismantle it. You are not giving doubt an invitation. You are completing the prayer before resistance even realizes what is happening. Murphy understood this about human psychology long before modern neuroscience had the language to describe it. He knew that the window between intention and interference is narrow and sacred, and he designed his most powerful practices to operate within that window. This prayer does exactly that. It gets in, it shifts the state, it seals the declaration, and it is done before your analytical mind can pick it apart. Comment below if you feel the genius of this. Right, I understand now. Now, before we speak this prayer together, there is something you must do first. And this is not optional. This is not a suggestion. This is the difference between the prayer working and the prayer being just another thing you tried. You must get quiet. Not just physically quiet, but internally quiet. Whatever you have been carrying today, the stress, the worry, the mental running through of problems and scenarios and what-ifs, you need to set all of that down for these 21 seconds. You cannot enter the feeling of completion while your nervous system is screaming emergency. You cannot broadcast a signal of fulfillment while your body is tensed in the posture of survival. So right now, wherever you are, I want you to take a slow breath in through your nose, hold it for just a moment, and release it slowly through your mouth. Do it again. Breathe in, hold, and release. Feel your shoulders drop. Feel the muscles around your jaw soften. Feel the tension in your chest begin to loosen. You are not relaxing to feel good. You are relaxing to become receptive. You are opening the channel through which this prayer travels from your conscious mind down into the deep subconscious layers where all creation actually begins. Murphy wrote that the subconscious is most receptive when the body is relaxed and the conscious mind is quiet. This is why the moments just before sleep are so powerful for this kind of work. The guard is down. The analytical mind is drowsy. The subconscious is wide open, and whatever you feed it in that state, it absorbs completely and begins acting on immediately. Tonight before you sleep is the perfect time to use this prayer. But even now, as you watch this, in this relaxed and open state you are entering, you are creating the conditions for it to work. If you are softening and opening right now, write in the comments, "I am open." Good. Now bring to your awareness the one desire that is calling to you most urgently right now. Just one. Do not try to address everything. The subconscious works best when given a clear and specific impression. So choose the one thing. Maybe it is a financial breakthrough that you have needed for longer than you want to admit. Maybe it is healing, something in your body or your heart that has been crying out for restoration. Maybe it is a relationship, someone you love, a connection you are longing for, a reconciliation you have almost stopped hoping for. Maybe it is peace, just peace, the kind that does not depend on circumstances being perfect. Whatever it is, bring it into your awareness now. And now here is the critical instruction that determines everything. Do not see this desire as something in the distance. Do not visualize yourself reaching for it or moving toward it or hoping it will come. Instead, I want you to feel what it would feel like to have already received it. Close your eyes for a moment if you can, and ask yourself, if this were already done, if this were already resolved, already healed, already present in my life right now, what would that feel like in my body? Would there be relief? Would there be warmth? Would there be a lightness in your chest where the heaviness has been living? Let yourself feel that. Really feel it. Not as a future possibility, but as a present reality. Let your body respond to it as though it is real right now. Because in the realm of consciousness where all creation begins, it already is. This is the state you need to be in when you speak the prayer, not thinking about it, feeling it, inhabiting it, being it. If you have found that feeling, even a thread of it, even the faintest beginning of it, write in the comments, "I feel it already, now we are ready." I want you to close your eyes, soften your breath, and speak these words either out loud in a soft whisper or silently from a place of deep inner knowing. Speak them slowly. Feel every single word as it moves through you. Do not rush. This is 21 seconds of your complete and total presence. Give it that. Say this: "Father, I come not to ask but to receive what is already mine. I do not reach for this from a place of lack. I speak from a place of completion. It is done. My desire is not coming to me. It is already here, already present, already real in the only place that matters, within my consciousness. I am not the person who is waiting. I am the person who has received, and I walk forward from this moment as living proof of that truth. Thank you. It is finished. It is finished. It is finished. Now stay in that stillness for a breath. Do not rush out of it. Take one more slow breath and let everything you just declared settle into the deepest part of you. Feel the shift. It may be subtle. It may feel like a quiet exhale of something you have been holding for too long. That is real. That is the shift Murphy described. That is the subconscious receiving its new instruction and beginning to act. Write in the comments right now, "It is finished." Let that be your declaration. Now here is what you must understand about the next 24 hours, because this is where people either protect their breakthrough or accidentally undo it. The prayer has been spoken. The impression has been made. The subconscious has received its new instruction, and it is already working on your behalf, moving pieces you cannot see, opening doors you do not yet know exist, arranging the people and circumstances and opportunities that align with the new state you have claimed. Your job now is to protect that, and the first and most important way you protect it is by telling no one, not your best friend, not your partner, not even someone you trust completely. No one. I know that feels counterintuitive. When something feels significant, the natural impulse is to share it. But Murphy was clear, and every serious student of consciousness has learned this through experience. A fresh manifestation is like a seed in its earliest stage of germination. It needs darkness. It needs the protected soil of your own inner knowing. The moment you expose it to another person's energy, you are also exposing it to their doubts, their fears, their limitations, their unconscious beliefs about what is possible for you. Even the most loving person in your life carries subconscious programming that can interfere with what you have just set in motion. This is not about secrecy for its own sake. This is about honoring the sacred incubation period that every manifestation requires. The transformation is happening, but it needs to be allowed to happen without interruption. Every time you resist the urge to announce what you have claimed, you are strengthening the inner knowing that holds it in place. You are building the muscle of self-trust. You are learning to be your own source of confirmation rather than looking for it in other people's reactions. If you understand the power of this silence, write in the comments, "My manifestation is protected. Now here is what to watch for in the hours that follow," because the signs come faster than most people expect, and it is easy to dismiss them if you do not know what you are looking for. Within hours of speaking this prayer from a genuine feeling state, your reality will begin to send you confirmations. They will likely start small, a thought that arrives with unusual clarity, a feeling of unexpected calm in a situation that normally produces anxiety, a conversation that opens a door you did not know was there, a piece of information that appears at exactly the right moment, an interaction with someone that feels inexplicably significant. These are not coincidences. These are the first visible ripples of the subconscious reorganizing your reality. Murphy called them bridges of incident. The subconscious does not produce your desire out of thin air. It engineers a series of perfectly arranged events, encounters, and realizations that lead you naturally and inevitably toward the fulfilled desire. Each small sign is one link in that chain. When you notice them, do not grasp at them desperately or start analyzing whether they are real enough. Simply acknowledge them inwardly with gratitude. A quiet, internal thank you that confirms your knowing without disrupting the process. The gratitude itself is important. Murphy said that thankfulness is one of the most powerful states you can inhabit because genuine gratitude for something means you already believe you have it. You do not feel truly grateful for something you are still unsure about. Real gratitude carries the vibration of possession, and when you are in that vibration, you are continuing to feed the subconscious the same instruction you gave it during the prayer. You are maintaining the frequency of completion rather than drifting back into the frequency of waiting. Type in the comments if you are committed to staying in this state. Write, "Gratitude is my signal." There is one more thing Murphy taught that I want to leave you with, because it is the piece that transforms this from a single practice into a permanent way of living. He said that the person who learns to live from the end, who learns to make every decision, carry every conversation, and move through every day from the consciousness of their desire already being fulfilled, that person does not just manifest one thing. They enter into a continuous state of creation. They become someone for whom life consistently arranges itself in their favor. Not because they are lucky, not because they are special in a way others are not, but because they have aligned their inner state so consistently with completion and fulfillment that the outer world has no choice but to continuously reflect that back to them. This is what is available to you, not just tonight's breakthrough, not just the shift that begins in the next 24 hours, but a fundamentally different relationship with your own creative power. A life where you stop chasing and start receiving, where you stop begging and start claiming, where you stop living in the question of when and start living in the knowing of now. Murphy gave his entire life to helping people understand this, and tonight through this simple 21-second prayer spoken in the quiet before sleep, you have taken the first step into that understanding for yourself. If you have stayed with me all the way through this, if something in you recognizes the truth in what has been shared here, I want you to drop a comment below that says, "This message found me at the right time," because I believe deeply that the people who find this content are not here by accident. You were ready for this. Something in you called it forward, and that same something is already moving on your behalf right now. Hit the like button if this shifted something in you. It helps more people who are ready find this message when they need it most. And subscribe to this channel because we go deep here. This is just the beginning of what we explore together. There is a video right here that takes everything we discussed today even further, revealing the specific time of night when the subconscious is most receptive and how to use that window to amplify everything you have just claimed. Click it and keep going. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. What if the most powerful moment of your entire day is the one most people sleep through without ever knowing it existed? Not the morning, not the afternoon, not even the quiet of midnight. I am talking about a specific window, a precise and sacred threshold that occurs at a predictable time every single night, where the barrier between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind becomes so thin, so permeable, that whatever you place into your awareness in that moment bypasses every wall, every doubt, every layer of resistance your conscious mind has spent the day building. Joseph Murphy knew about this window. He wrote about it carefully, quietly, in ways that most readers passed over because it sounded too simple to be significant. But the people who caught it, the people who understood what he was actually describing, those people began experiencing transformations so consistent and so rapid that they stopped calling them miracles and started calling them laws. Tonight I am going to show you exactly what that window is, when it opens, how to recognize it, and the precise prayer you speak inside it that makes everything you have been asking for finally begin to arrive. Stay with me until the end because the technique itself comes last, and every word before it is building the foundation that makes it work. Without the foundation, the prayer is just words. With it, those same words become the most powerful creative act of your day. Before we go any further, hit that like button right now and drop a comment telling me where in the world you are watching from. And if this is your first time here, subscribe and turn on the bell. What we do on this channel goes deep, and I do not want you to miss a single thing. Let me start by asking you something. Have you ever noticed that the thoughts you have right before you fall asleep feel different from your daytime thoughts? They feel heavier somehow, more real, more emotionally charged. Or you might find yourself worrying about something that felt manageable at noon but feels enormous at 11 at night. This is not weakness. This is not anxiety spiraling out of control. This is your subconscious mind beginning to take the wheel. And without knowing it, most people hand that wheel directly to their fears every single night. Murphy identified this phenomenon with extraordinary precision. He called the period just before sleep the portal. Not metaphorically, literally. A portal between the surface mind and the deep creative intelligence that governs your entire life experience. In the language of modern science, we would describe this as the hypnagogic state, that threshold between wakefulness and sleep where your brainwaves slow from the alert beta frequency down through alpha and begin touching the edges of theta. In theta, your subconscious is not just receptive, it is consuming. It is pulling in whatever emotional content is present in your awareness and treating it as instruction, as creative direction, as the blueprint for what it will spend the night building and for what it will begin manifesting in your waking hours starting the very next day. This is why what you think about in the last few minutes before sleep matters more than almost anything else you do all day. Your daytime thoughts are filtered through layers of critical thinking, skepticism, and analytical resistance. Your subconscious hears them, but it does not absorb them with the same depth and immediacy. But at the threshold of sleep, those filters go offline. The gatekeeper steps away, and the subconscious sits open, wide open, absorbing whatever emotional impression you are living in as you drift off. Most people drift off worried, or scrolling, or replaying what went wrong. And their subconscious faithfully spends the night organizing more circumstances to match those emotional impressions. They wake up and wonder why nothing changes. It is changing. It is changing in exactly the direction they pointed it before they fell asleep. If this is making something click for you right now, write in the comments, "I understand the portal." Now, here is where Murphy's genius becomes practical. Because once you understand that this window exists and that it is the most direct access point to your subconscious you will encounter all day, the question becomes not whether to use it, but how to use it with precision. And precision is everything here. This is not about lying in bed thinking happy thoughts. This is not about repeating affirmations until you fall asleep mid-sentence. Murphy was very specific about what the subconscious responds to in this state. It does not respond to effort. It does not respond to trying hard or concentrating intensely. In fact, the more you strain in this state, the more you activate the conscious mind and close the very portal you are trying to walk through. What the subconscious responds to at the threshold of sleep is one thing: feeling. Specifically, the feeling of a wish already fulfilled, not hoped for, not worked toward, already received, already real. Murphy said it this way, and I want you to really hear this because it changes everything. He said the feeling of the wish fulfilled is the ship that carries your desire from the invisible into the visible. Not the thought of it, not the visualization of it, the feeling of it, the emotional reality of already living inside the answer to your prayer. When you can genuinely generate that feeling in the moments before sleep, you have handed your subconscious the most precise and powerful instruction it is possible to give. And it will work on that instruction all night long while your conscious mind is out of the way, unable to doubt, unable to interfere, unable to undermine what is being built in the depths. This is the hidden truth behind why some people seem to wake up with solutions to problems they went to sleep holding. Why some people find their mood upon waking is inexplicably lighter even when nothing in their external circumstances has changed yet. The subconscious was given clear instruction the night before, and it began executing immediately. The internal shift happens first. The external evidence follows. Always, without exception. Write in the comments if this is resonating deeply. Write, "My nights are now sacred. Now I want to address something that might be forming as a question in your mind right now." Because it is the same question almost everyone asks when they first encounter Murphy's teaching on this. If it is this simple, why doesn't it work for everyone who tries it? Why do people lie in bed trying to feel grateful and abundant and peaceful and wake up the next morning to the same old circumstances? And the answer is one word: authenticity. You cannot manufacture the feeling and have it work. The subconscious is not fooled by performance. It is not impressed by effort. It only responds to genuine emotion. If you lie in bed saying, "I am wealthy, I am wealthy, I am wealthy," while simultaneously feeling the anxious weight of financial pressure in your chest, your subconscious is not listening to the words. It is listening to the feeling, and the feeling says the opposite of the words. The feeling says not enough, not safe, not working, and the subconscious loyally, faithfully, relentlessly produces more of that. This is the gap most people never close. And this is precisely what this prayer is designed to bridge. Because the prayer does not ask you to manufacture a feeling from nothing. It walks you through a very specific internal process that generates the genuine feeling of completion naturally, organically, without forcing or pretending. It uses the structure of declaration, the power of gratitude, and the precision of embodied language to bring you into authentic emotional contact with your desire as an already accomplished fact. And when that contact is genuine, even for 21 seconds, the subconscious receives it completely and begins its work. So let us prepare. Let us create the conditions that allow this prayer to land at its deepest possible level. First, your body. You are ideally in bed, or at minimum in a position of complete physical ease. No tension in your shoulders, no tightness in your jaw. Let your body feel heavy and supported. Let every muscle you have been holding throughout the day begin to release. Take a breath in slowly and deeply through your nose. Hold it at the top for just a moment, and release it through your mouth long and slow. Do this again. Breathe in, hold, and release. With every exhale, feel yourself sinking a little deeper into relaxation, a little closer to that threshold state where the subconscious opens and receives. Notice that you are beginning to feel different already, a little slower, a little softer, a little more inward. This is the state Murphy described. You are approaching the portal, and in this state, everything you place into your awareness with genuine feeling will be received at a depth your daytime mind cannot reach. Now bring forward your desire, the one thing, the one prayer that your heart has been carrying. Do not list everything you want, just the one that feels most alive in you right now. Feel it, not as something you are moving toward, as something you have already received. Let your body respond to the reality of it being done. Where do you feel relief when you imagine it is already here? In your chest? In your throat? In the release of some tension you have been holding for so long you forgot it was there. Find that feeling. Let it become real in your body right now. Even a thread of it. Even the smallest genuine flicker of what it would feel like to have already received this. That is enough. That is the spark that lights everything. If you have found even a thread of that feeling, write in the comments, "I found the feeling." Now, eyes soft or closed, body heavy and relaxed, awareness turned completely inward. Speak these words slowly, gently, as if you are sharing the most sacred truth you have ever known with the deepest part of yourself. Let every word carry the feeling you have just found. Do not rush, do not perform. Simply speak from within the reality of it already being done. Say this: I enter this night not as someone who is waiting, but as someone who has already received. What I have prayed for is not on its way to me. It is already here, already woven into the fabric of my life, already as real as my own breath. I do not ask tonight, I rest. I rest in the absolute knowing that it is done, that the creative power within me has already answered, that tomorrow I will see the first evidence of what is already complete in this moment. I am grateful, deeply, fully, genuinely grateful, not for what might come, but for what already is. And with that gratitude I release this completely into the intelligence that knows exactly how to bring it into form. It is done. It is done. Now breathe, slow and deep, and let yourself drift. Do not try to hold the feeling. Do not try to maintain concentration. You have given the instruction. The work is complete. Your only job now is to let go and allow sleep to carry that impression deep into the subconscious, where it will spend the entire night becoming your new reality. This is the moment Murphy described as the most powerful act a human being can perform. Not forcing, not striving, but releasing a clear and feeling-filled impression into the subconscious at the threshold of sleep and trusting the intelligence within to execute it perfectly. That trust, that release, that willingness to let go of how and when and simply rest in the knowing that it is done, that is the final ingredient that makes everything work. If you are going to use this tonight, write in the comments, "Tonight I sleep as someone who has already received." Now here is what tomorrow looks like for someone who has done this correctly. Something that resembles peace even before your conscious mind has had time to remember your circumstances or your problems. This is significant. This is your subconscious communicating that it received the instruction and it is already working. Do not dismiss this feeling. Do not allow your analytical mind to immediately catalogue everything that is still wrong and override it. Protect that morning feeling. Let it be the first thing you consciously acknowledge. Let it be evidence that something has shifted even before the physical proof arrives. Throughout the day, stay alert. Murphy said that the subconscious engineers what he called a chain of causation, a perfectly arranged sequence of events, encounters, and opportunities that leads directly toward the manifestation. These events will not always look dramatic. In fact, they often look ordinary. A conversation that happens to come up, a piece of information that crosses your path, a sudden impulse to reach out to someone or go somewhere or try something you had not considered before. These are not random. These are the bridges your subconscious is building between where you are and where your prayer has already placed you in consciousness. Follow them. Trust them. Move when you feel the gentle pull to move. These are your instructions from the intelligence that is now working completely on your behalf, and through all of it, tell no one what you have claimed. Not yet. Not until the physical evidence is so undeniable that sharing it becomes celebration rather than seeking validation. The prayer you spoke tonight is a seed in sacred soil. Protect it with your silence. Nourish it with your continued feeling of gratitude. And watch in genuine wonder as the world around you begins to reorganize itself to match what you declared in those 21 seconds at the threshold of sleep. This is Joseph Murphy's most profound and least discussed teaching made completely available to you tonight. Not for someday, for tomorrow, for the next 24 hours, for the life that begins the moment you close your eyes tonight in the certainty that it is already done. If this message found you at exactly the right moment, I want you to write that in the comments below. Tell me, this found me when I needed it most. Because I read every single one, and it means more than you know to understand that this work is reaching the people who are truly ready for it. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you are not already here with us. And the video right here goes even deeper into Murphy's teaching on the subconscious, revealing the 3 words he said were more powerful than any prayer when spoken at this same threshold moment before sleep. Click it. Keep going. You are only at the beginning of what becomes possible from here. What if I told you that the reason your prayers have not been answered is not because you are unworthy, not because you lack faith, and not because the universe has forgotten you, but because of 3 specific words you have been leaving out. 3 words that Joseph Murphy called the most overlooked secret in all of his teaching. 3 words that change the entire frequency of a prayer the moment they are spoken. Not 3 complicated words. Not 3 words from an ancient language or a forgotten scripture. 3 words so simple that when I tell you what they are, your first reaction might be to doubt that something this ordinary could carry this much power. And that doubt, that instinct to dismiss the simple in favor of the complicated, is exactly what Murphy said keeps most people separated from everything they have been praying for their entire lives. Stay with me, because by the time we finish today, you are going to speak those 3 words, and you are going to feel what happens in your body when you say them from the right internal state. And that feeling is going to tell you everything you need to know about why this works and why nothing else has worked the way you needed it to. Before we go any further, take a second and hit the like button right now. And drop a comment telling me where in the world you are watching from today. I genuinely love seeing this community and where it reaches. If you have not subscribed yet, do that now and turn on the notification bell so you never miss what we share here. This channel exists for exactly this kind of deep, practical, life-changing teaching. Now I want to start with something Murphy wrote that I have never heard anyone else quote, because most people read past it without understanding what he was actually saying. He wrote that the majority of people pray from the outside of their desire rather than from the inside of it. Read that again slowly. From the outside of their desire rather than from the inside of it. When you pray from the outside, you are standing at a distance from your desire, looking at it, reaching toward it, asking for it to come closer. The entire posture of that prayer is separation. You are here. The thing you want is there. And the gap between you and it is what your prayer is trying to close. But Murphy said that gap is an illusion. And every prayer that acknowledges the gap makes the illusion more solid, more real, more permanent. When you pray from the inside of your desire, everything is different. You are not reaching toward anything. You are standing within the fulfilled reality of it and speaking from that place. There is no gap to close because you have already placed yourself in consciousness inside the experience of having received. And this is not pretending. This is not positive thinking dressed up in spiritual language. This is working with the actual mechanics of how the subconscious mind creates your experience. The subconscious does not build toward your desire. It builds outward from whatever state you are currently occupying. If you occupy the state of wanting, it builds more wanting. If you occupy the state of having, it builds more having. The three words Murphy identified are powerful for one reason above all others. They move you instantly from the outside of your desire to the inside of it. They collapse the distance between where you are and where you want to be in a single breath. Write in the comments if you want to know what those three words are. Write, "I am ready." But before I give them to you, I need you to understand something about why they work, because understanding the mechanism is what allows you to use them at full power rather than half power. Murphy spent his career studying what he called the law of assumption. The idea that whatever you consistently assume to be true about yourself and your life will harden into physical fact through the creative activity of the subconscious mind. Your assumptions are not passive observations. They are active instructions being fed continuously into the most powerful creative force you have access to. Most people assume things unconsciously. They do not choose their assumptions deliberately. They absorb them from their experiences, their upbringing, their repeated thoughts, their emotional history, and those unconscious assumptions quietly run their lives, producing the same results year after year, while the person wonders why nothing changes despite their efforts. The practice Murphy advocated was deliberate assumption, consciously choosing what you will assume to be true and then speaking, feeling, and living from that assumption until the subconscious accepts it completely and makes it real in your external experience. This is the entire foundation of every powerful prayer practice he ever taught. And the three words we are about to explore are the most concentrated expression of deliberate assumption he ever identified. They do not describe something you hope will happen. They do not ask for something to be given. They declare something that you are choosing right now to assume as already true. And when that declaration is made with genuine feeling, the subconscious receives it as fact and begins immediately to produce the circumstances that match it. If this principle is landing for you in a new way right now, write in the comments, "I choose my assumptions." Now, I want to build toward this carefully because I want you to be in exactly the right state when those three words arrive. So let us take a moment together right now. Wherever you are, whatever you were doing before you clicked on this video, I want you to set it down completely for the next few minutes. Not push it aside. Not minimize it in the background of your awareness. Set it down. Give yourself full permission to be completely present in this moment, because what happens in the next few minutes, if you allow yourself to be fully here for it, could genuinely alter the trajectory of your life. Take a slow breath in. Let your body settle. Feel whatever surface is supporting you, and let yourself be fully supported by it. You do not have to hold yourself up right now. You do not have to brace for anything. You do not have to figure anything out. For these few minutes, you are simply here open. Receiving. Now bring to mind the desire that sits closest to your heart right now. The one that has been with you the longest. The one that sometimes feels almost embarrassing to still be holding because it has been so long and nothing has moved the way you needed it to. That desire. The one you have almost given up on but cannot quite let go of, because somewhere underneath everything there is still a part of you that knows it is possible. Bring that forward right now. Not with the weight of everything you have done to try to make it happen, not with the history of disappointments attached to it. Just the desire itself, clean and clear and real. Feel it in your body, not as something far away, as something that belongs to you. As something that is already yours in the realm where all things begin before they become visible. Let yourself feel what it would feel like if right now, in this moment, you simply knew it was done, not hoped, not believed with effort, just knew. The way you know your own name, the way you know the sun will rise. Simple, settled, certain. Stay in that feeling for a moment. Let it move through you. Let your nervous system feel the difference between straining toward something and simply resting in the knowledge that it is already yours. That difference in feeling, that shift from reaching to resting, is the entire journey Murphy spent his life teaching. And you just made it in 30 seconds. If you felt even a whisper of that shift, write in the comments, "I felt the difference." Now I am going to give you the 3 words, and I want you to notice what happens in your body the moment you hear them. Because if you are in the state we have just been building together, you will feel them land differently than you have ever felt words land before. You will feel them not just in your mind, but in your chest, in your breath, in something that relaxes inside you that has been tight for longer than you realize. The 3 words are simply this: it is done. That is it. It is done. 3 words, the most ordinary words imaginable. And yet Murphy returned to them again and again throughout his entire body of work, because he understood that no other combination of words in the English language does what these 3 do to the subconscious mind when spoken from genuine feeling. Every other phrasing keeps a door open to doubt. "I am receiving" implies it has not arrived yet. "I believe it is coming" implies future delivery. Even "thank you for this blessing" can subtly imply that the blessing is external, that it comes from somewhere outside you. But "it is done" leaves no room. It is the most complete statement of assumption possible. It does not point to the future. It does not describe a process that is underway. It declares a completion, a finality, a done thing, and the subconscious, which is always listening, always absorbing, always building in the direction of your most deeply held assumptions, receives those 3 words as the most precise instruction you can give it. Build from completion, organize from fulfillment, reflect back the reality of something already finished. Murphy said that when you can say it is done and mean it, truly feel it as a present reality rather than a hopeful wish, you have done the only work that was ever required of you. Everything else, every physical action, every opportunity, every synchronicity that follows, is simply the outer world catching up to what you have already established in consciousness. Write in the comments right now those 3 words as your declaration. Write, "It is done." Now let me show you how to use these 3 words as a complete prayer. Because the words themselves are the core, but the prayer surrounding them is what creates the emotional context that makes them land at full depth. This prayer takes 21 seconds, and you are going to speak it now with me. In the state you are already in, relaxed, open, holding your desire as already complete, these words are going to carry more power than any prayer you have spoken before. Not because of magic, because of mechanics. Because your subconscious is open and receptive right now, and what you speak into it in this state becomes the blueprint for what it immediately begins building. Close your eyes, take one more slow breath, and speak these words gently from the deepest place of knowing within you. Feel every single one. Say this: "I do not come to this moment asking, I come knowing. Knowing that what I have desired is not somewhere ahead of me waiting to be earned or begged for or finally granted. It is here. It is mine. It is woven into who I am in this moment. I release every question of how and when. I release every doubt that has told me I am not enough, or it is not possible, or it has been too long. None of that is true. The only truth is this: it is done, and I rest in that completely, peacefully, finally. Thank you. Now breathe, long and slow, and feel what just happened in your body, because something did happen. The body knows. The nervous system knows. There is something that settles when you speak a truth your subconscious recognizes as real. That settling is not just relaxation. That settling is agreement. That is the deepest part of you saying, yes, finally yes, I accept this as real. If you feel that settling right now, write in the comments, "My body said yes." Now here is what Murphy taught about what happens next, because this is the part that determines whether this prayer becomes a single powerful moment or the beginning of a permanent transformation. He said that most people have a beautiful experience in the prayer and then immediately return to their old assumptions the moment they open their eyes. They feel the shift, they feel the completion, they feel the peace of it is done, And then they pick up their phone and scroll through circumstances that contradict it. Or they start mentally rehearsing the problems they still need to solve. Or they share the experience with someone who responds with skepticism, and the entire impression dissolves within minutes. Murphy called this the reversal. The prayer plants the seed, and then the habits of mind immediately dig it up. And he said this is the single most common reason people feel like prayer does not work for them. It is not that the prayer failed. It is that the assumption that followed the prayer cancelled it. This is why the hours immediately after this kind of prayer are so critical. Your job in those hours is not to monitor whether it is working, not to analyze the signs, not to share what you experienced and seek confirmation from someone else. Your job is simply to carry the feeling of it is done with you into everything you do, not dramatically. Not by forcing yourself to feel good, simply by returning gently every time your mind drifts back toward the old doubt to those 3 words, it is done, like a compass needle returning to north. It is done, quietly, certainly, as many times as it takes until the assumption becomes more natural than the doubt. This is the practice Murphy called living from the end, and it is not a single prayer you say once and forget. It is an orientation, a way of moving through your day that you choose again and again until it becomes your automatic internal posture, until you no longer have to remind yourself that it is done, because you simply live from that knowing the way you live from the knowing that you are breathing, without effort, without thought, without doubt. This is what permanent transformation looks like, not one breakthrough moment, a new baseline. A new default assumption that your subconscious builds from every single day going forward. And it begins with the prayer we just spoke together. It begins with those 3 words spoken from genuine feeling at the threshold of your deepest receptivity. It begins tonight, and it compounds every day you choose to carry it forward. If you are committing to this, write in the comments, "I live from it is done." Before you go, I want you to know something. The fact that you found this video, that you stayed through to this point, that something in you kept watching even when the logical mind might have said this is too simple or I have heard things like this before, that persistence is not accidental. People who are not ready for this kind of teaching do not stay. They click away in the first minute. The fact that you are here, reading these words right now, says something about where you are in your journey. You are ready. Something in you already knows that the transformation you have been seeking is not outside of you. It is not waiting on a circumstance to change or a person to act differently or the world to finally cooperate. It is available right now through the shift in assumption that this prayer creates. And you have already made that shift today. Carry it with you. Protect it with your silence, nourish it with your returning gratitude, and watch what the next 24 hours bring. If this message reached you at exactly the right moment, write that below. Tell me, I was meant to find this today. I read every comment, and this community means everything to me. Hit the like button. Share this with one person who needs it. Subscribe if you are not already here with us, because we go deeper every single time. And the video right here reveals the specific morning practice Murphy said should always follow this nighttime prayer, completing a full cycle of subconscious programming that he called the most powerful 24 hours a person can give themselves. Click it. Keep going. Everything you have been asking for is already closer than you think. What if the most important thing Joseph Murphy ever discovered was not a prayer, not a technique, not a method, but a single morning practice so precise and so powerful that he called it the completion of everything? He said that the night prayer plants the seed, but the morning practice is what waters it. And without that morning practice, without that specific way of waking into your day and immediately anchoring the assumption you established the night before, you are leaving the most critical window of your entire 24 hours completely unguarded. You are handing those first few minutes of morning consciousness, the minutes when your subconscious is still surface level and wide open to whatever thought arrives first. And for most people, that first thought is a problem. a worry, a reminder of everything that still has not changed. And in that single unguarded moment, everything the night prayer built begins to quietly erode. Tonight I am going to show you exactly what Murphy prescribed for the morning, the specific practice he called the seal, the thing that locks in what the night established and compounds it day after day until the life you have been praying for is simply the life you are living. Stay with me until the very end, because what comes last is the most important piece of everything we have explored together across these teachings. And if this is the first video of mine you are watching, I want you to go back and watch the others, because this is the final chapter of a complete cycle, and it will make the most sense when you have the full picture. Before we go any further, hit that like button right now. Leave a comment telling me where in the world you are. And if you are not subscribed yet, do it now, turn on the bell. This is the kind of content that changes things when you find it at the right moment, and I do not want you to miss what comes next on this channel. Let me begin with something Murphy observed about human beings that he found both fascinating and heartbreaking. He said that most people wake up every morning and immediately abdicate. They open their eyes, and before they have taken a single conscious breath, they have already handed control of their inner world to the first external stimulus that reaches them. The alarm, the notification, the memory of yesterday's unresolved problem, the body's inventory of what hurts or feels heavy or has not healed yet. And in that handover, in that unconscious surrender of the most sacred and receptive minutes of the entire day, they set the emotional tone for everything that follows. They broadcast the signal that their subconscious will spend the rest of the day trying to match. And then they wonder why, despite their night prayers, despite their intentions, despite everything they are trying to do differently, the days keep producing the same results. Murphy said the morning is not just the beginning of a new day. It is the continuation of the night's work. And if you do not consciously continue it, if you do not deliberately pick up the thread of what you established before sleep and carry it forward into your waking awareness, the world will interrupt it for you within seconds. The phone will interrupt it. The news will interrupt it. The habits of anxious thought that have been running for years will interrupt it. And the seed you planted the night before, that carefully established impression of it is done, will sit there unwatered in the soil of your subconscious while the day piles ordinary worry on top of it and blocks its growth. If you have ever wondered why manifestation feels inconsistent, why things seem to move and then stop, why you have breakthroughs followed by plateaus, this is the reason. Not lack of faith, not bad timing, not the universe being indifferent. The morning window is being left unprotected. And everything you built in the night is being partially dismantled before you even get out of bed. Write in the comments if this is explaining something that has confused you for a long time. Right, now I understand why. Now here is what Murphy prescribed, and I want you to notice how simple it is. Because the tendency is always to assume that something this important must be complicated, must require a long ritual or a specific sequence of steps or a degree of spiritual development you have not yet reached. But Murphy consistently moved in the opposite direction. He moved toward simplicity, not because he was being casual about this work, but because he understood that the subconscious responds to ease, not effort, to flow, not force. The more natural and effortless the practice feels, the more deeply the subconscious receives it. Strain creates resistance. Ease creates receptivity. So here is the morning practice, the seal that completes the cycle. Before you look at your phone, before you speak to anyone, before you allow a single external input to enter your awareness, in the first 30 seconds of waking, while your eyes are still adjusting and your body is still warm from sleep and your subconscious is still sitting at the surface like water that has not yet been disturbed by wind, you speak 3 things inwardly, not out loud necessarily, not in a formal prayer posture, simply inwardly, from the first moment of conscious awareness. You speak them in the same gentle, certain tone you would use if you were telling someone you loved the most settled truth you had ever known. The first thing you speak is acknowledgement. You acknowledge that while you slept, something was working, not you. Not your conscious effort. The intelligence within you, the subconscious creative power that Murphy spent his life studying, was working through the night on the instruction you gave it before sleep. It was building. It was arranging. It was moving pieces you cannot see toward the fulfillment of what you declared. And you acknowledge that not as a hope, but as a fact. You do not say, "I hope it was working." You say it was working, because it was. This is not wishful thinking. This is understanding the law. When you plant a seed in good soil, you do not wake up the next morning wondering if the soil was working on it overnight. You know it was, because that is what soil does. It works on seeds. That is its nature. The subconscious works on impressions. That is its nature. Acknowledge it as the fact it is. If you are willing to begin your mornings this way, write in the comments, "I will acknowledge it first." The second thing you speak in that morning window is continuation. You pick up the feeling of it is done exactly where you left it the night before. Not reconstructing it from scratch. Not working hard to regenerate it. Simply returning to it the way you return to a room you stepped out of for a moment. It is still there. The feeling of completion, of your desire already being real, of the prayer already being answered. It did not dissolve while you slept. In fact, it deepened. The subconscious was marinating in it all night. It is more established this morning than it was when you drifted off. Your job is simply to return to it consciously, to feel it again for even 30 seconds in the softness of waking. To let your body remember what it felt like to rest in it is done, and to begin your day from inside that feeling rather than outside it. This is what Murphy meant when he said prayer is not an event, it is a state. A continuous inner orientation that you carry through your waking hours and return to deliberately at the key threshold moments, the moments of falling asleep and waking up when the subconscious is most accessible. The morning continuation is not a second prayer. It is the same prayer of still alive, still active, still broadcasting, being consciously reinforced in the moment when your full awareness returns for a new day. Write in the comments, "I continue from where I left off." The third thing you speak in that morning window is expectation. Not anxious monitoring, not obsessive checking for signs, but the quiet, settled expectation of someone who has placed an order and knows without doubt that it is being prepared and will arrive. Murphy made a very precise distinction between expectation and desperation, and it is worth understanding clearly. Desperation is watching the door every second and panicking when it does not open on your timeline. Expectation is knowing the door will open and simply going about your life with the calm certainty of someone whose order is already in process. One of those states closes the subconscious. The other keeps it wide open and actively engaged. When you wake up in the morning and your first internal orientation is quiet expectation, the day arranges itself differently. You notice things you would otherwise walk past. You respond to people in ways that open conversations rather than close them. You feel drawn toward certain actions, certain directions, certain decisions that your analytical mind might not have chosen, but that turn out to be exactly the right move. This is not luck. This is the subconscious, having spent the night working on your instruction, beginning to surface its work into your conscious awareness through inspiration, intuition, and what most people call instinct. When you are in a state of quiet expectation, you are positioned to receive those signals and act on them. When you are in a state of anxious monitoring, you are too contracted to hear them, so you wake up, and before anything else, before the phone, before the news, before the internal catalogue of everything still unresolved, you speak these three things inwardly. It was working while I slept. It is still done, and today I will see evidence of what is already complete. 30 seconds, that is all it takes. 30 seconds to seal the night's work into the morning and carry the assumption of completion forward into every hour that follows. If you will commit to this practice starting tomorrow morning, write in the comments, "I seal my mornings." Now I want to bring everything we have explored together across all of these teachings into one complete picture. Because Murphy's genius was not in any single technique. It was in the complete cycle he understood more clearly than perhaps anyone else who has ever studied this subject. The cycle moves like this. During the day you carry the assumption of completion lightly, returning to it gently whenever doubt surfaces, not fighting the doubt or arguing with it, but simply redirecting back to the three words, "It is done," the way you would gently redirect a child who has wandered off the path. At the threshold of sleep, in that sacred portal, when the conscious mind is drowsy and the subconscious is fully open, you speak the night prayer, placing the impression of already having received deeply into the creative medium that will work on it through every hour of darkness. And in the first moments of waking, before a single external input disturbs the still surface of your morning awareness, you speak the three morning acknowledgements and seal the night's work forward into the new day. This is the complete 24-hour cycle of what Murphy called living from the end. Not a single prayer you say once and wait on. A continuous inner orientation, reinforced at the two most powerful threshold moments of every day, that compounds over time until the assumption of your desire being done is more real to your subconscious than any evidence to the contrary that the external world might present. And at that point, at the point where your assumption has been established so deeply and so consistently that it becomes your automatic baseline, the manifestation is not just likely, it is inevitable. It cannot not happen, because the law of mind that Murphy studied and documented his entire life is not a law that sometimes works. It is a law that always works, always. The only variable is the depth and consistency of the assumption. And this practice, this complete cycle of day, night, and morning, is designed to establish that depth and consistency in the most efficient and natural way possible. This is what Murphy wanted people to understand more than anything else he ever taught. Not that prayer is powerful. Not that the subconscious is creative, but that you are always already using these forces. Every single day. The question is never whether your assumptions are creating your reality. They always are. The question is whether you are choosing your assumptions deliberately or allowing them to be chosen for you by your history, your circumstances, and your habits of thought. This practice puts the choice back in your hands, completely permanently. Starting tonight, write in the comments if you are ready to begin the complete cycle. Write, "I begin tonight. I want to say something to you directly before we close. And I mean this with everything I have." If you have stayed through all of these teachings, if you have followed this complete journey from the first prayer to the night practice to the morning seal, you are not here by accident. People who are not ready for this material do not find it, and even if they stumble across it, they do not stay. The fact that you are here, that's something, and you kept saying yes to the next video and the next teaching and the next layer of this, is itself evidence of the shift that is already happening within you. The subconscious that Murphy described, that creative intelligence that responds to assumption and feeling and consistency, yours has already been receiving everything you have encountered in this time together. The seeds have already been planted. The work has already begun. Your only job now is to not undo it, to carry what you have received into your nights and your mornings and your quiet moments throughout the day. To return to it is done every time the old doubt tries to reassert itself. To protect your fresh assumption with the sacred silence Murphy prescribed. To trust the process, not because you can see the evidence yet, but because you understand the law and you know that the law works whether you can see it working or not. The way gravity works whether you can see it or not. The way the sun rises whether you are awake to watch it or not. The law of mind is that reliable, that consistent, that certain. You have everything you need. You have the night prayer, you have the three words, you have the morning seal. You have the understanding of why it works that transforms it from a ritual into a genuine shift in consciousness. Murphy spent his entire life trying to give people what you now have. Use it, not someday, tonight, tomorrow morning. And every day that follows until the life you have been praying for is simply and quietly the life you are living. If this complete journey has meant something to you, If these teachings have landed in a way that feels genuinely different from anything you have encountered before, write in the comments below. This changed something in me. Because it will, and I want to know when it does. I read every single comment, and this community, the people who find their way here and stay and go deep, means more to me than I can properly express. Hit that like button. Share this with one person who has been praying for something for a long time and has almost stopped believing it is possible. Subscribe if you are not already with us, because this channel is built for exactly this kind of deep and life-changing work, and there is so much more to come. And the video right here is where I would recommend going next. It reveals the single assumption Murphy said is the root beneath every other assumption, the one that when it shifts causes everything else in your life to begin shifting simultaneously. Click it. Keep going, because you are not at the end of something today. You are at the beginning.